Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is Christopher Z, of course, and Mikey All-Star here. Today we have another commentary video. Oh yeah! So if you guys remember, earlier this year I did a commentary video on the first 6 of the Lego short films I've been making, and now I will be doing the next 6. I've been doing these every 6 short films, so here we go. So, today we'll be talking about Brake Light, Paranoia, Suppress, The Bell Strikes, Identical, and Urge, the final short film of this year. So I won't actually be commentating over the entire thing, going through the entire video and just watching it and talking about what I see. I'll be doing it off of memory and remembering like what all I did while I was filming and all of that stuff. So all this like behind the scenes info you guys don't know. So alright, so here we go. So first off, we're going to start off with Brake Light. Now, funny story about this actually, the title, Brake Light, break as in break, like as in like destroy or something, instead of break as in like stop. So I of course I did this on purpose. No, actually my dad pointed this out that it's spelled wrong, but it works. So I'm like, yo, yeah, of course I meant to do that. Yeah, it totally works. Is he breaks his brake lights. So there you go. This idea came to me while I was stuck in traffic, and I just thought, hey, you know what would happen? Like if someone didn't have their brake lights on, you wouldn't be able to tell like if they're stopping or not, like just by the color of the brake lights. And also, like, hey, what if, like, you know how cops like pull over people? What if someone had something in their trunk and they just got pulled over for a brake light, you know, but they find something else in there? So that's where the idea came from. It's kind of a weird way that came about, but there we go. So this did end up being a little different from my original idea in my head, where I was going to have this reporter go around and interview different people and ask about this one person that got murdered, just to make sure that he got away with it, because of course in the end you find out that he is the one who murdered this person. But instead I just decided to leave it with just one person. So there's also another person on the street that says, hey, your brake light's broken or whatever. I wanted that to become like a continuous theme, like it's leading somewhere, but I just did it with the one guy that is the girl's neighbor, and as well as Mikey. He said, hey, your brake light's broken or whatever. So yeah, he's just interviewing people and trying to figure out like who committed the murder, just to make sure that he's got his all of his tracks covered and whatnot, and that he got away with it. And I used a song called Green Eyes by Jimmy Dorsey, I believe from the 40s maybe, I think. So that was of course because he was jealous of the wife because she has a husband, but he wants her to divorce him and be with him, but in the end they decide not to, so he just goes off the deep end. And one of my favorite shots in this video is the shots of like him in the car. I thought that was it was fun to do. You know, I just moved a building past the car, kind of made it look like it was actually moving, but it was actually the building that was moving, not the car. So that was a lot of fun. And the main character himself, I wanted him to look kind of innocent. You know, that face kind of has like an innocent look about him, even though he is guilty in the end. And the other guy, I wanted him to make him look like maybe he could have done it. Maybe it was him. There's even a scene where in the beginning where it shows the guy standing over her. He has the same hair as the guy that he is interviewing, just to kind of throw you guys off, so you know they could have the same hair. But nope, it is the reporter guy that's the murderer. So it does have a cliffhanger, and I don't really like to go into what I would do as the ending, but I guess I could give you guys some ideas. I guess really this one, at least there's only really one solution there. He just gets arrested, or I guess there's some other ones too, like he kills the cop and he runs off or whatever. So yeah, there's a few endings you could think of there, but yeah, I like to keep everything open-ended, just giving you guys maybe some ideas of what it could be without giving you guys a definitive answer. Alright, so that covers Brake Light. Now let's move on to Paranoia. So, I had this idea while I was walking, and I was thinking, hey, you know, what if there is a person that, like, thinks that they're constantly being followed, and they keep on looking back, and they're actually not being followed, and they finally come to terms that they're not being followed, that they're safe, and then when that happens, in their house, they find out that there's a person right behind them, or well, they don't find out, but it shows a person right behind them. I've had this idea for a little bit now, I think earlier this year, and I finally made it. I don't remember when I made this one, but I was glad to finally make this. And yeah, so basically that's the whole plot of it. The guy has killed this other guy's brother in self-defense, but the brother wants revenge, and he goes after this guy. And this guy is super paranoid, and he keeps on seeing this guy everywhere, but in reality he's not anywhere near him until the very end, where he's waiting in his house/apartment. I guess it's an apartment. I think out of all of these, this one was probably the most fun to record, because I had to like use a lot of different stuff, like different techniques. Like I shook the camera around and stuff, and I also had it so the guy was surrounded by a bunch of people that looked like the person that that is after him, even though it wasn't the actual minifigure. Like just a bunch of times I just took all of the black minifigures I could find, like the black torso and black leg minifigures I could find, and just surrounded him with it. So that was a lot of fun to do. The kind of freak out scene where he just like loses his mind. That was a lot of fun to film. And also, this is one of the few ones that I've actually made the music for. I made a whole soundtrack for it. I don't think any of the other ones I've really made any soundtracks for. I could be wrong, but I think that's true. So yeah, that's like one of the only ones that I made a soundtrack for. It's just kind of, I wanted to give the vibe of like some really like paranoid and really tense music. So I guess I couldn't really find anything. So I just said, hey, let's just make it myself. So in the end, of course, he is confronted with the guy that is after him. Throughout the video, maybe it seems like he doesn't actually exist, that it's just some guy that's haunting him, haunting memory, but it's not actually a person after him. But then in the end, it shows that he is actually in his apartment. But here's the thing, is he imagining it, or is he actually in the apartment, you know? Like, he can't see the person, like he's turned away from the person, so it could be real, or it could be in his imagination, you never know. So there we go, that is Paranoia. That was a lot of fun to make. Next we have Suppressed. Now I did make 2 cuts of this. The first cut that I made I wasn't super satisfied with. I thought it could be better, so I went back and filmed the entire thing. The first cut is actually on my channel as well. It's called Suppress Alternate Cut if you wanted to check that out. I think the original, or the final cut I should say, is the best cut in my opinion. But basically the idea is that this guy is being interrogated once again by another guy that had a hand in murdering someone. So basically this guy notices that his wife is having an affair with this guy, and it turns out it's the hitman. So he hires the hitman and he goes after the wife. But before that, he's given this little like serum thing that makes him forget some stuff, so he doesn't realize that he's the one who did it. So this whole time he's sitting in front of the person that actually caused him to kill his lover, I guess. So yeah, I had this idea a while ago as well. I wanted to do something where this guy was like interviewing another guy, and it turns out that the guy that is interviewing this other guy is the guy that is the bad one, and it's really him that was the victim in a way. What I did in the video is he gradually remembers stuff. Like at the beginning he doesn't really see a clear look of the person's face, so the person's face is blank. Some of the people's faces are blank, and then eventually he starts gaining his memory back. Then in the end he figures out that it is the police officer that is interrogating him that actually is responsible for this. And he puts a gun on the table and he says, oh hey man, if you attack me, you're gonna probably die, get killed. So yeah, it leaves him with a dilemma. Should he kill or attack at least the police officer and try to escape, or should he just accept his fate? So there we go. That is Suppress. Not too much there, but it was fun to make. And even though these don't have any connections with each other, I kind of like to think them as like their own little trilogies. So that is like the first little trilogy right there. Next we have the newest trilogy, if you will. We've got the Bell Strikes, we've got Identical, and Urge. As you can see, these start getting longer and longer. Like Urge and Identical are both over 7 minutes, so, and before they're only just like 2 minutes and 3 minutes. So I've definitely gotten a little lengthier with these short films. I might have to stop calling them short films eventually, because eventually they'll probably be longer than Equivocal if I keep on doing it at this rate. So the Bell Strikes. So in this video we have a group of people that are all in this room together. There are 4 people as well as a 5th person that is just kind of the intermediary, and each one of these people has like bad history with the other one, and there is a gun in the middle of the room. And at midnight, the lights turn off, someone grabs the gun and shoots. And it isn't revealed who shoots who, but it slowly reveals the backstory of each one of them and why they hate each other. So I thought it was a pretty fun idea. I don't remember how I came up with this, but I guess really my first idea was, for the intro scene, was the police investigating this body and like saying, oh hey, wow, this looks like they died at midnight or something like that, and like I don't know what it really else. It was just gonna show like a suit. They're all wearing the same identical clothes, so you can never tell who it was that actually died. But it does confirm that someone was shot. So yes, that was my basic idea, and then I wanted to go into that and have like something happening, and then eventually at midnight someone dies, and yeah, so that was the basic idea that I had at the beginning. And then I just kind of expanded on it. This is one of the few videos that I also did in like the blue. There's only 2 videos that I did that reverse, and then the Bell Strikes. So I kind of like the blue. I don't use it too often because I don't think it's not my favorite filter, but I do like it. I think it's cool. It has its purposes. I wanted to give this video a kind of gothic feel. That's why I chose the music that I did. I thought it fits pretty well. And this one was a lot of fun to make too. I think I made this over the summer, and yeah, it was one of those ones I was really looking forward to making, and I'm glad that I got to make it. So next we have Identical, one of the last short films of this year. I think it came out in October or November. I can't remember really. I think it was October. This is another idea I've had for quite a while. Basically, this guy is wanted by this mob boss, and he has him killed. But it turns out this guy has a twin, and he kills the wrong person. Now the twin has to live with that, knowing that he was the cause of his twin's death, and he runs away from it all. This is an idea that I almost made into like a full-length Lego video, but I decided, nah, just leave it as a short film. So yes, I kind of thought it would be fun, you know, kind of like a trick in the beginning, like to show like he's looking at himself. He's actually not looking at himself in the mirror, he's looking at his twin brother. And yeah, it slowly reveals that it was not him that died on that rooftop in the end, it was his brother. This video remains to be the longest short film so far, at 7 minutes and 42 seconds. All the rest of them are under 7 minutes. Most of them are under even 6 minutes, except for Urge, which is 7 minutes and 32 seconds. But yes, you can see they are getting longer. This one I'd also say is the most story-driven with the amount of stuff it goes into. It goes into all of the stuff that went on with this guy, like he had a gambling problem, and then he got into being a hitman, and then he messed up in a job, there's a shootout, and then he gets arrested and all of that, and then the boss is like, alright, we've had enough of this guy. So yeah, this is definitely the one that I've gone into the most with story, so that's probably why it's the longest. But yeah, so there you go. I think that about does it with Identical. All these are pretty fun to make. I think the one that I had the most fun with would probably have to be Paranoia, but this one was still fun nonetheless. And lastly, we have Urge, the most recent one. This one I've had once again, I've had this idea for quite a while. It's the idea that these two people are kind of like locked together, like they're locked in this room, and their arms are like pointed at each other so they can't move their arms with like some metal braces or something. And basically what happens is one of them has to shoot each other or they both die. I thought it would be a nice dilemma right there, and I wanted the video itself to start off with that, but then to build up to that point, not reveal everything at the beginning, but gradually build up stuff. And yeah, I really wasn't sure what to call it. I had this idea for a short film called Urge, and I decided to like morph these two ideas together and make it into this one idea. This guy is talking about we all have urges, and what about like the urge to kill per se? You know, like a very, very morbid video, and very probably the darkest of these short films, I'd say, maybe. And yeah, in the end, this guy kidnaps these two people and uses them against each other and threatens them. And yes, there's a scene, a spot that I liked, that I messed around with. It was just opening up the camera lens just very, very slightly. I opened it very slightly. It kind of like bends the image a little. If you look at it, it's like everything's all bendy and out of focus. I thought that was pretty cool, pretty fun thing to do. And yeah, it's the first time I've really done that. So it was interesting experimenting with that. And these short films mainly started off as an experiment, and I still like to experiment with these as well and try to find some new techniques that I can use in my other videos. So this one's pretty basic, but the ending is that one of them is shot by the other one. And I don't reveal who, you know, it just leaves it up to you guys to decide who would do it. Who you think would do it. Because they each have stuff to lose, but who would be willing to just put it all on the line and do it. So yeah. So that about covers it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'll be doing this again when we make 6 more, so maybe even next year. So alright, anyways guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!